"Why are you sitting my mom's standing get-up?" Ryan's voice boomed across the crowded Chicago bus, his grip seizing my arm. 8 months pregnant, my legs shaking. I froze as passengers stared, some gasping. Then a bold woman snapped out a single sharp sentence. It hit like a thunderbolt. "Before we go on, tell us in the comments, have you seen a public injustice like this? Enjoy listening." Emily Carter stumbled through the front door of their suburban Chicago home, her swollen feet throbbing from the bus ride and a grueling day at the office. The late October wind had cut through her thin coat, and the weight of her pregnancy 8 months along made every step a chore. The house, a faded 2-story with peeling blue siding, was no sanctuary. It was Diane Carter's domain, a shrine to Ryan's mother, with her floral curtains, chipped china, and framed photos of Ryan as a smirking kid dominating the mantel. Emily felt like an intruder tolerated only because her paychecks kept the lights on. As a junior accountant at a downtown firm, Emily earned enough to cover the mortgage groceries and Ryan's endless business ideas that never panned out. He hadn't held a steady job in years, bouncing between odd gigs as a handyman or peddling used car parts online. Yet he controlled every dime she made. "Hand over your card," he'd say after each payday, his tone leaving no room for argument. Emily complied, watching her earnings vanish into his account. She got a $50 weekly allowance, barely enough for gas, and a coffee her life reduced to receipts and justifications. What's this $5 charge? He'd grill eyes, narrowing as if she'd betrayed him. If she needed more, she had to beg, and Ryan would sigh. "You're wasting money again, aren't you?" Diane was worse. She'd perch at the kitchen table, sipping tea, her sharp eyes tracking Emily's every move. "You're cooking that chicken wrong," she'd snap. "Or that dress makes you look sloppy. Don't embarrass my son." Emily bit her tongue, knowing any pushback would reach Ryan twisted into proof she was ungrateful. Diane's criticism wasn't just control. It was personal. She'd never wanted Ryan to marry Emily, calling her that office girl behind her back, as if her job was a stain. To Diane, Emily was a means to an end, a paycheck to keep her house and son afloat. The photos on the walls, the recipes Diane insisted on, the way she'd rearrange Emily's groceries in the pantry, it all screamed ownership. Emily's presence was an inconvenience, her pregnancy a burden, unless it served Diane's grandson. The house was a cage, its routines suffocating. Emily woke at 6 a.m., made breakfast for Ryan, and Diane commuted to work on the rattling CTA bus, crunched numbers for 9 hours, then came home to cook dinner and clean, while Diane watched game shows. Ryan spent evenings in the garage tinkering with junk he swore he'd sell, or out with buddies at some dive bar, leaving Emily to face Diane's nitpicking alone. "You're not taking care of yourself," Diane would say, eyeing her belly. "My grandson deserves better." It wasn't care, it was a jab implying Emily was failing before her child was even born. She'd lie awake at night, her back aching, wondering how she'd become this shadow of herself, flinching at Ryan's voice, measuring her words to avoid Diane's wrath. Pregnancy made everything heavier. Morning sickness lingered into her 3rd trimester, and her swollen ankles screamed by noon. She'd hide in the office bathroom, splashing cold water on her face to stay awake, terrified a mistake would give Ryan or Diane more ammunition. Her old self, the woman who dreamed of opening her own accounting firm, who loved weekend hikes along Lake Michigan, who sang karaoke with friends, was buried deep. She couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed, really laughed, not the tight smile she wore to keep the peace. Ryan dictated her wardrobe. "Nothing too tight, you're not a teenager," her social life. "Sarah's a bad influence, stop calling her, even her thoughts." Once, when Emily suggested saving for a new car, he scoffed. "You manage money, stick to your spreadsheets, babe." Diane nodded her silence, louder than words. Emily stopped sharing her dreams, locking them away where they couldn't be mocked. The neighborhood played along with the lie. Their street, lined with tidy lawns and American flags, buzzed with nosy neighbors who saw the Carters as a nice family. Diane was a master at the act, chatting over fences about her hard-working son and sweet daughter-in-law. Emily's forced smiles fooled everyone, No one saw the late-night arguments, Ryan's raised voice, or Diane's cold stares that made Emily's stomach twist. She was trapped in a picture-perfect facade, her spirit eroding with every passing day. Sarah Miller. Her friend from college was the only one who sensed the cracks. They'd been close late-night study sessions, road trips to Wisconsin, shared secrets over cheap wine, but Ryan had driven a wedge between them. "She's too clingy," he'd say, checking Emily's phone. Sarah's texts still came asking to meet, but Emily made excuses knowing Ryan would demand explanations. Once Sarah called during dinner, and Ryan snatched the phone. "Cut her off," he said. Diane chimed in. "You don't need friends like that." Emily deleted Sarah's number that night, her throat tight, a piece of herself slipping away. That bus incident, though, had changed something. The elderly woman's voice, sharp, fearless, stuck with Emily, though the exact words blurred in her memory. It was like a spark igniting dry tinder, making her see Ryan's jokes weren't funny. Diane's advice meant to wound. She started noticing their evasions. Ryan's vague answers about bills, Diane's quick glances when the mail arrived. Emily didn't know what she was searching for, but the unease gnawed at her. She began checking the mail when Ryan was out, her hands trembling as she sifted through envelopes, hoping for a clue, anything to explain the weight in her chest. One chilly evening, under the dim glow of the kitchen light, an envelope from their bank caught her eye, addressed to Ryan, but with her name in fine print. Ryan was in the garage, Diane upstairs, leaving a rare moment alone. Emily's heart raced as she slid open, her fingers clumsy. The statement showed a zero balance. Her $12,190 savings, scraped together from years of overtime, were gone, funneled into Carter Auto Solutions, Ryan's car repair shop that never materialized. Transfers dated back months mocked her trust. Her knees buckled, the paper crumpling in her fist. Ryan's dismissals, "Don't worry about money," rang hollow, each one a lie. Diane's "let Ryan handle it" was no better. They'd used her like a bank lied to her face, and left her with nothing. The garage door creaked, and Ryan's boots thudded into the house. Emily shoved the statement under a stack of junk mail, her pulse hammering. "Messing with my mail?" he asked, his tone sharp, eyes narrowing. "Just sorting." She lied, her voice barely steady. He grunted, grabbing a beer from the fridge, but his gaze lingered, suspicious. The air felt thick, the truth burning in Emily's chest. She couldn't unsee that statement, couldn't unfeel the betrayal. Sleep eluded her that night, her mind churning with questions, anger, and a flicker of something new, defiance. By morning, she needed more proof. While Ryan showered and Diane fussed over breakfast, Emily slipped into the garage, her breath shallow. Ryan kept his business files in a locked toolbox, the key hidden under a stack of greasy rags. Her hands shook as she unlocked it, glancing at the door every few seconds. Inside were receipts, contracts, and a letter from a creditor demanding payment for Carter Auto Solutions. The shop had never opened. Ryan had blown the money on equipment rusting in a rented lot. Worse, Diane's signature was on the loan agreement tying her to the mess. They'd both known, both lied, and used Emily's savings to cover their tracks. Back in the kitchen, Diane was at the stove, flipping pancakes, her face smug as ever. Ryan came downstairs, coffee mug in hand. Emily's voice trembled but held firm. "We need to talk." Ryan paused, already defensive. About what he asked. Emily slammed the statement on the table. "My savings! $12,190 gone for your fake shop. You and Diane lied to me." Ryan's face darkened. "You've been snooping. That was an investment I was going to pay you back. Investment." Emily snapped, her voice rising. "You stole from me, from our kid's future." Diane's spatula clattered to the counter. "Don't you dare raise your voice in my house," she hissed. "You're ungrateful, always were." Emily's fists clenched. "Ungrateful, I've paid for everything, your house, your food, your bills. You used me." She turned to Ryan, eyes blazing. "I want my money back or I'm done." Ryan's laugh was cold. "Done. You got nowhere to go, Em. No cash, no nothing. You need me." The words hit hard, but Emily's resolve didn't waver. "I'd rather lose everything than live like this," she said. grabbing her purse. Ryan shouted after her, "Get back here," but she kept walking, the statement crumpled in her pocket. The Chicago streets blurred as Emily headed downtown, Ryan's calls buzzing her phone. She ignored them, her mind racing. At a coffee shop, the smell of burnt espresso grounding her, she scrolled to Sarah Miller's number, saved in secret after Ryan's orders to delete it. Her finger hovered, doubt creeping in. Would Sarah still care? Emily took a shaky breath and hit call the ring echoing in her ear. Sarah's voice came through warm and urgent. "Emily." "Where are you?" Emily choked out. "I left Ryan. I need help." Sarah didn't hesitate. "Get to my place. Now." The cab ride to Sarah's apartment felt endless, the city's lights streaking past. Sarah's door swung open and her hug enveloped Emily, the familiar scent of lavender and coffee, a lifeline. "You're safe here," Sarah said, guiding her to a couch cluttered with books and cat hair. Over steaming mugs of tea, Emily spilled everything: Ryan's theft, Diane's lies, the bus incident that had cracked her silence. Sarah's jaw clenched, her eyes flashing. "They're done messing with you. Stay as long as you need." Emily nodded, exhaustion hitting like a wave, but Sarah's resolve was a tether pulling her back from the edge. Sarah's spare room, a tiny space with a twin bed and a window overlooking the city, became Emily's haven. She lay there that first night, hand on her belly, feeling her baby kick. "We'll make it, Liam," she whispered the name, a vow to her unborn son. Sarah's soft footsteps down the hall eased her fears she wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, Sarah was already on the phone, her voice brisk. "I know a lawyer, Laura Evans. She's tough. She'll handle the divorce, maybe get your money back." Emily's stomach knotted. Divorce was a daunting word, but Liam's movements pushed her forward. "Let's do it," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Laura Evans met them at her downtown office, a sleek space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Chicago River. She was in her 40s with a no-nonsense bob and a handshake that meant business. "Tell me everything," Laura said, pen poised over a legal pad. Emily recounted the bank statement, the $12,190 drained for Carter Auto Solutions, Ryan's lies, Diane's complicity. She mentioned the toolbox receipts, contracts, Diane's signature. "That's gold," Laura said. "We'll subpoena those. The bus incident, any witnesses?" Emily shook her head, the elderly woman's voice a blur, its impact a fire in her chest. Laura outlined the plan file for divorce request, a restraining order if Ryan got aggressive, and sue for restitution. "It won't be easy," she warned. "Ryan might fight dirty." Emily nodded, clutching Liam's ultrasound photo determination outweighing her fear. Sarah became her anchor, driving Emily to doctor's appointments, cooking dinners free of Diane's barbs. They'd sit on Sarah's couch, sharing old college stories, late-night pizza runs, that disastrous camping trip in Wisconsin, laughter easing the knots in Emily's chest. "You're tougher than you think," Sarah said when Emily's doubts crept in. "You walked out with nothing but a purse and a kid on the way." Emily managed a weak smile, Sarah's faith a lifeline. But Ryan's presence lingered. His voicemails piled up angry rants, then pleading. "Come back, babe, we can fix this," he'd say. Diane sent one text. "You'll regret this." Emily blocked them, but their words echoed a cold knot in her gut. The weeks blurred as Emily's due date loomed. Chicago's winter tightened its grip, snow blanketing the city. One night, Ryan showed up at Sarah's building, banging on the door. "Open up, Emily." "You can't do this." Sarah called the police, and he was gone before they arrived, but Emily didn't sleep, her phone clutched tight, Laura's number on speed dial. Laura worked fast, filing divorce papers, chasing Ryan's financial records. She warned Emily that Ryan might try to intimidate her, and he did, sending letters through his lawyer claiming she was unstable. Laura laughed it off. "He's desperate," she said. "We've got evidence of his fraud." Labor hit during a February snowstorm, the city a white haze. Sarah rushed Emily to the hospital, gripping her hand as contractions tore through. The pain was blinding, but Emily focused on Liam, on giving him a life free from Ryan's shadow. After 12 grueling hours, Liam was born a tiny, squalling bundle with Ryan's nose, but a fierce spirit all his own. Emily held him, tears, streaming love, drowning her fears. "I've got you," she whispered. Sarah by the bed grinned through her own tears. "You're a mom, Em. A damn good one." The hospital room was a sanctuary, a bubble where Emily could breathe. Sarah brought coffee and tiny onesies, joking about Liam's rock star hair. Laura visited, updating the case. "Ryan's dodging the subpoena, but we're closing in," she said. Emily nodded, cradling Liam, belief in victory growing. Reality crept back. Emily had no job, maternity leave was unpaid, her savings gone. Sarah covered rent, but Emily hated leaning on her. She applied for government aid, swallowing pride as she filled out endless forms. Liam's coups kept her going, his tiny hands a reminder of why she fought. Sarah suggested freelancing. "You're a numbers whiz," she said, handing Emily a laptop. Emily hesitated, Ryan's mockery. "You handle money," still stinging. But she landed her first client, a local bakery, crunching their books while Liam napped. It wasn't much, but it was hers, a step toward reclaiming her life. Sarah pushed her to a support group in a church basement, the room warm with coffee and quiet strength. Emily sat silently at first, listening to women like Maria, who'd escaped a controlling husband, her voice steady with pride. Their stories mirrored Emily's shame-fear survival. She shared her own, haltingly, about Ryan, Diane, the bus. The group's nods gave her courage, their stories weaving a tapestry of resilience. She left each meeting lighter, a piece of herself reclaimed. Maria texted her job leads, offered to babysit Liam, building a network Emily hadn't known she needed. As spring thawed Chicago's icy streets, Laura reported progress. Ryan's accounts were frozen. Diane named in the fraud case. Emily grew stronger, Liam's smiles lighting her days. She was at Sarah's folding Liam's clothes when Laura called about the final hearing. "We're close," she said. Emily hung up hands, steady, ready to face Ryan one last time. The courtroom was stark, Liam's gurgles a quiet anchor. Laura was relentless, stacking evidence, bank statements, receipts, loans proving Ryan and Diane's theft of $12,190. Ryan slouched across the aisle, his swagger gone. Diane, rigid, glared at the floor, her sneer a scowl. Emily's heart thudded, fueled by the fire from the bus, that stranger's sharp words, a spark she'd never lost. Laura laid it bare. Ryan's theft, Diane's complicity, years of control. They treated Ms. Carter's earnings as their own, she said, sliding documents to the judge. Emily's testimony calm, unflinching, detailed Ryan's grip on her paychecks, Diane's jabs. "You're slouching," Diane would hiss. Each word Emily spoke peeled back their lies. Sarah watched from the gallery, her nod a silent cheer. Liam was why she fought his future free from Ryan's shadow. Ryan's lawyer claimed Emily knew about the shop, but Laura countered with receipts and records. Diane's lawyer blamed Ryan, but her signature on the loans was damning. The judge, stern with gray streaks, delivered the ruling, divorce granted. Full custody to Ms. Carter, restitution of $890 from Mr. Carter, $490 from Mrs. Carter. Emily exhaled relief flooding in. Ryan caught her outside, his voice desperate. "You're ruining me, Em! Come back!" His eyes were hollow. Emily faced him steady. "You don't get to decide my life anymore." The bus incident flashed that bold woman's voice, a mystery that had set her free. She walked to Sarah's car, Ryan's pleas fading. "You kicked ass," Sarah said, buckling Liam in. Emily smiled, a real one, not the forced kind she'd worn for years. They drove to Logan Square, where Emily's new apartment waited, a one-bedroom with creaky floors and sunlit windows. She'd moved in weeks ago, furnishing it with thrift store finds, a rocking chair, a bright rug, Liam's crib. Her freelance accounting grew 4 clients, now enough for rent and diapers. Nights were long, balancing spreadsheets and Liam's feedings, but every dollar was hers. Sarah came over often, bringing takeout and toys. "This place is home," she said, watching Liam crawl. Emily hugged her, grateful for a friend who'd been her lifeline. The support group was a haven, too. Emily's story, shared with a strong voice, inspired women like Maria. They swapped job leads, babysitting a network of survivors. Ryan was a ghost, dodging payments gone from Diane's house. Diane put it up for sale, her control broken. Emily didn't care about the money, she'd built her own life. She worked late, Liam asleep, her laptop glowing with a new client's books. The city's hum filled her apartment, a rhythm of possibility. The bus incident lingered, that stranger's voice a spark through every fight. She didn't need the words to feel their truth. Sarah was coming tomorrow, and Emily planned to cook, maybe laugh over wine. Liam stirred, and she glanced at him, her heart full. Emily knew she was stronger than her fears, her worth undeniable. Every struggle had taught her to stand tall, to choose herself. With Liam's laughter and Sarah's friendship, she smiled, a true, peaceful smile, ready to embrace whatever came next.